People who, in many instances, have absolutely no clue what they are doing. The Marxists, the anarchists, the looters.
And it's episode 114 of Inane Blather, the podcast, the only podcast.
Period.
The only podcast that you listen to, and if I hear that you listen to any other podcasts, I will cry. And probably do some horrific, public spectacle and leave your name in the note. Mm-hmm. So keep that in mind. I don't know if you want that on your conscience.
The blood will be on your hands.
I'm not going to say anything about blood or your hands, but just, think about your conscience. That's all I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Although that means you don't listen to podcasts very often because we don't put out episodes very often. We're back after a couple weeks. Natalie's kind of sick, but she's been coughing and
you're pooping the bed.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was the last sickness I had.
But
he died, and when baboons kidnapped and ate him.
Despite her sickness, she wants to connect with you. Mm-hmm. All of you listeners,
headstrong, stubborn, quibbling, self-centered, vindictive, obnoxious, hormonal, sexually preoccupied, evil, thieving, cross-dressing jerks.
So, it's been a couple weeks. I forget what we even talked about last time. Or was when we talked to Danae, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, there's other stuff that we can catch up on. I've got a couple little, things that are going on right now, which we don't always talk about. Maybe we can open the New York Post. But I wanted to, I bookmarked this. I know that at its heart, this is just kind of Twitter nonsense, right? Mm-hmm. Which we love,
Sure.
Gosh, there's got to be something that I can do on the soundboard. I don't know. Jesus Christ.
Creativity to me is
it's
just
so
like
loud.
It's like a.
Now that's the first goddamn thing you've ever said that made one piece of fucking sense.
This is all just Twitter nonsense, all terminally online bullshit. But I wanted you to kind of rate this absolute flaming roasting, and I wanted to get your feedback on it because I thought it was really funny. I don't know if you know who Azalea Banks is. She's a rapper, singer-songwriter, from New York. And I know you kind of know who Dasha Nekrasova is, right? From the Red Scare podcast.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Adam Friedland's former fiance. Mm-hmm. Just, New York scene, dumb bitch extraordinaire. The Red Scare podcast that was
DBE.
I forget how Nick Mullen described it. It was something like, something about vocal fry, and it's just two girls with vocal fry being rude, but and they took like this weird right wing turn that seemed ironic a long time ago. That just seems to it's just been pure right wing nonsense for like a couple years now.
And
at this
it's not
point.
Ironic.
I don't know. Who cares anymore? It's just right wing. They're just really annoying at this point. Mm-hmm. But Azalea Banks was tweeting about Dasha and Grimes, I guess, for some reason. They're kind of similar in stature and vibe in some ways.
Interesting.
And someone on Twitter said about Dasha, there's a stench of pennies, ass, and ketchup in their aura. I don't know. And Azalea Banks quoted and said, exactly. Grimes and Dasha def smell like pennies, ass, spit, scalp, and ketchup, LMAO. And Dasha saw it, and she said, bruh. And Azalea Banks quoted her directly and said, it's true, girl. You and Grimes have that really annoying skinny boy body / too hipster to swallow a nut / mad insecure passive aggressive white girl who's never been in a fist fight / talks a load of shit but doesn't wash her hands after taking a shit. Closet racist thing about y'all. Sorry. And it was like just so mean,
funny.
But
Telling someone they smell like ketchup and pennies is like such an incredible insult. That's like nasty.
The other one. She said bruh to, she said Dasha and Grimes both have that same bitch you never want to fuck from the back vibe. It's giving I curl my butt under and hunch my shoulders energy. Anna definitely arches her back and pokes it out. So Anna's the other girl on the Red Scare podcast. But Dasha is giving I curl my butt under and hunch my shoulders energy.
While smelling like scalp and pennies.
And spit and pennies and ketchup.
Too
So you
hipster to
approve.
swallow a nut.
I thought it was absolutely cooking her, is all I know.
And saying that she doesn't wash her hands after she takes a shit. That's like... Girl, you seem nasty. Like, I wouldn't want you to touch me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All while having like the body of a New York hipster boy.
I don't know what she looks like. I've seen some stuff of Grimes, and I think that, Grimes seems like a good name because she seems grimy. Yeah, like she seems nasty. Like her hair is like greasy and like unwashed, and she's like... but she's like an artist, and it's like whatever, you just like do your thing, whatever, but you seem kind of filthy, like gross.
And that's not even about like not washing. It's a vibe thing. It's like, what's with you? You know? You're strange.
You're just
and
like,
not in a good way. Strange
gross.
can be definitely good. You're just kind of a gross person. You're fucking weird. And it's like, of course. Why else would you marry Elon Musk?
Hey, that's because you got some problems. You really got some problems there.
He is cold, hollow, and violent.
But he sure
you
can't
could
jump.
Tell.
He
you could
sure
tell.
can.
Yeah, when he was up on stage at the Trump rally. Elon was looking like an absolute spaz. It was so weird. And Trump, man, it would seem so passive aggressive. Like, it just seems like Trump does not like him. He never did. He talked shit
How
about
could
Elon
you?
before. And and now he's talking about how he'd put Elon in his cabinet and stuff. And it's like, and even if he gets elected, he probably still wouldn't. He won't. He doesn't follow through on stuff like that. Remember Chris
Totally.
Christie? Sat by his side all that time and then turned on him because he never gave him anything. So what do you think about this? There was by the way, there was a great New Yorker cartoon. Every once in a while there's a pretty good one. Mm-hmm. Great New Yorker cartoon, a guy having coffee with this lady. And he says, it's a podcast about me and my buddy discussing movies, but the catch is we also sort of joke around.
I saw that. We also sort of joke around about it.
No, but
it made me think about me and you, but I'm like, at least we're up front. We're like, this show is not about anything. This is just like two...
Hey, it's in the title.
Yeah, two idiots having a conversation with each other. So...
It's
Not good.
And it's two
head bonked individuals
engaging in
inane blather.
So there we go.
Exactly.
Thank you, Royal Mixmaster Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Death penalty. It's immediate death penalty.
So, what do you think? The obsession with 6-foot men is an idiosyncrasy of the imperial measurement system, but no one is ready for that conversation.
Nice. I don't really care. I'm 5'10".
You're kind of tall, yeah.
Yeah. So I have never. I don't think I've ever dated someone that's taller than me. I have dated
Really?
pretty much exclusively guys who are shorter, sometimes much shorter. I've dated someone who's 5'5", and
you
Humby?
dated that 4'8" pigmy guy for like 3 years.
And he's like, pygmy,
didn't
like
speak
he's
English,
part
though.
pig.
Yeah, he's like me, pig me.
Humby's only like 5'6", so
Wow.
I'm like,
I didn't even realize
but they're very buff, so it doesn't.
Yeah, it's
and
true.
they've got big, curly, beautiful hair. But I've never really cared. It's nice, like
with the curly, beautiful hair. I always thought they were like 8'5".
yeah, they're like a god, but they're looking pretty buff, man.
Shouldn't you be dead by now? People don't live that long when they're over 8 feet tall. And they always say, "Why do you keep saying that to me?
I'm 5'6". Yeah.
Why do you keep wondering why I'm not dead yet?"
I've always thought that. What's the difference between 5'11" and 6 foot?
Yeah.
I mean, like, who fucking cares? They're like a guy that's 5'11" seems tall to me. Like, a guy that's over 6 foot, that's like pretty tall. You're getting pretty tall there. Anybody over 6 foot.
Okay, Natalie.
Speaking of someone over 6 foot, he's like 6'4", which I can get. I don't really get, okay. What I will say, from what I've heard from some of these short friends of mine, that, like women typically going to be quite a bit shorter, average height 5'5" or so. Some of my friends, short, 5'2", 5'3". They're like, having sex with guys that are tall, it kind of makes it hard for stuff to kind of line up. Like, in a way where it's less intimate. Like, you can't, like, kissing can become harder because of just, like, the distance. If someone is, like, literally, like, someone that's, like, a foot taller than you, like, you line up the parts that need to be lined up to fuck, your faces are going to be, like, you're going to have to be, they're, like, craning down or whatever. 69ing becomes
Oh, I'd love for Hassan to
different.
kiss the back of my head while we're doing missionary.
So I don't really see the appeal of a huge height difference. Personally,
More novelty.
Like, I guess it's like kind of like whatever, and it's nice to have someone. I feel like it'd be nice to have someone taller than you for like kind of like a comforting sort of aspect of it. I think that's nice to have someone
Big
who's
spoon.
like, yeah, but just get yourself a buff babe, and it doesn't really matter what height they are. But
With curly locks.
yeah, exactly. And great thing, Umberto and I, we can share clothes. So that's like pretty awesome. You're dating a guy, that's, a foot taller than you. You're not going to really be able
true.
to.
You can't swap T-shirts or anything.
Not really. You
Anything
got
like
some
that.
big loose clothes. Humby and I, we've shared like jumpsuits and stuff. We can really share our clothes.
I've
but
never even considered that.
yeah, I don't really care about 6 foot, and it's like so incredibly like arbitrary to me. I'm like, whatever,
There you go.
because they're not. Yeah, and it's like based on what? Okay, our measurements and how many? What is that in centimeters or whatever you're talking about, meters or whatever? It would be like some random fucking number. So who cares? Like who? It is like beyond. It has always been like something that's so weird to me, like a weird way to narrow down your candidates for dating, rather than like something fundamental, like what's your stance on Gaza? Like,
Yeah, sure. Yeah, exactly.
way more important than your height.
Do you vote? Yeah. How do
Yeah.
you treat wait staff at a restaurant? Way more important.
What do you think about
than
feminism?
if you're 5'10"
You
or
know,
6'1"? Yeah.
I would say those kinds of things. I mean,
Yeah. Have you ever considered the concept of wokeness in video games? If the answer is yes, please do not swipe right, or whatever the correct.
Or elaborate
because
by saying, I think it's a good thing to have
yeah.
wokeness. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, now I can't remember that main girl's name that was the Gamergate. What's the big name?
I don't know. I didn't follow that too much. I'm like, sexism? Oh, shocking. In some sort of male-dominated thing? I never would have guessed.
Oh, boy. So, last thing that I had kind of bookmarked here, besides a bunch of tits and ass. No, there's a couple other things. Oh, my God. Oh, actual names. The actual names account that I see every once in a while. Actual name from the Ohio County Marriages book, the log from 1789 to 2016, Homer J. Simpson.
Nice.
Which would be amazing if it was Springfield, Ohio, but it doesn't say the city.
I don't think they're from Springfield, Ohio. I think they're just from Springfield.
Yeah, exactly. But it's where they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets. That's the Simpsons.
Columbus, yeah.
So let's see. Oh yeah. So Iran struck back at Israel. Finally, rained down with a bunch of rockets. Went through their rocket defense system, no problem, and hit a bunch of military targets. And at Israel, which I didn't see at first because I have them blocked on Twitter, but they
smart.
They tweeted out some footage of it, and in all caps, "This isn't normal," and said
Israel said that?
Yes, and said every single one of these rockets is meant to kill. And one of my good Twitter friends at the Barbarism Critic, she said, "Wow, that's crazy. What are your bombs meant to do? Hugs?"
Yeah. It's like dropping confetti. This isn't normal.
So in response, they said, "They're supposed to kill terrorists, not civilians. Are you too blind to really see the difference?" And she said, "You are the reincarnation of Adolf Hitler." It's like, these bombs kill terrorists. We were talking about that before the show. Like, it's so obvious and apparent that it's like you're not... there's no, like, guise of an anti-terrorism campaign in any way whatsoever when you're just bombing buildings, when you're just carpet bombing an area. You're not conducting an anti-terrorism campaign. You can't possibly convince people that you are. It's insane that people think that.
Evidently you can convince people.
Yeah.
Like the governments.
No, they're not convincing people. Those people already believe that. They don't need to be convinced.
Right.
But it's like, you can already look to the United States, funnily enough, to see that that's not how you conduct anti-terrorism campaigns, by bombing cities, blowing up hospitals and schools. Even if you're saying that you're conducting it in some sort of weird ethical manner and telling people to evacuate before you blow up their apartment building, which is bullshit to begin with, it's like, how is that anti-terrorism, anti-insurgent behavior? It's like, look at America did it for 20 years. That's not how you do it. There is so much experience that you could be learning from of what to do and what not to do from what the United States did in Afghanistan for 20 years. And it's like, so either you're so incompetent that you think you're doing this right and not looking to the American example, or you're just lying. And we just know it's the latter, of course. But I don't want to talk too much about Israel and Gaza. It's
we
really
talked a lot about
disgusting.
Israel before this, and it was very frustrating and like just really, really disgustingly disgustingly disappointing reaction from the United States from the very beginning. How fucking hard is it to call for even just a fucking ceasefire, you dumb cowards, you horrible, horrible. I just don't even. And out here, anybody listening from other countries, can you just like yell and scream at us, please? Some like president of France, you got something to say? Please say it. How about all you guys that are like, voted for this ceasefire? How about you tell us that we're wrong and that like maybe bring something to the United States? This isn't just about Israel. This is about the United States too. We need to be feeling some social pressure here. That's something that does matter, because what are you going to hurt us like economically? I don't know about that.
No.
Not too much
And
unless
we're
you're
the ones
Iran
that
with
supply
oil.
the arms.
Yeah. So can you like maybe like, guys, hold us accountable, please. Tell Joe he's being a bad boy. Tell him in no uncertain terms that you think that he is enabling a genocide. Tell him he's the bad guy, please. Some other countries, they're not listening to us. They don't care.
Yeah.
Here, college campus protests and stuff like that, they're like, fuck these kids. They're like taking the Michael Jordan approach,
Yeah.
Like really straight up the Republican side, they're like,
and if you're taking
deport
the
these
Michael
kids.
Jordan approach, dead Gazan children do not buy Jordans. Okay? It's like,
true.
Well, yeah, Israelis might buy sneakers, but dead kids don't. And it's like, yeah, talk about social pressure. You could say Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, you are the bad guys. It's like, and you know what? All of us are, if you want to say, your tax dollars are killing children every day.
That's what Osama
killing
bin Laden
babies.
was saying.
Your
It's
tax
on us.
dollars are shooting children through the head and chest every day. And it's happening systematically. And everyone who's listening, go to GazaHealthCareLetters.org and read through that. It is brutal and honest, and it needs to get out there. It needs to get in front of someone like Kamala Harris. It's like how, it has to be possible that she reads something like this. From healthcare professionals in Gaza, on the ground, telling people what's actually going on here, that there's no good to what Israel's doing over there. There's no way to spin it. There's nothing. There's no justification, whether anti-terrorism, even religious fundamentalism, nothing. It's just there's over 100,000 dead civilians. Is their estimates far higher than what the Gaza Health Ministry has been saying? Because you know what? They can hardly count everyone properly because all the hospitals have been fucking bombed.
And it's keeping track of all the malnourished people, and we read in those letters, spontaneous abortions, maternal mortality, the fact, what happens when people are severely malnourished. It's not just people blowing up from explosions. It's people starving to death, because of motherfucking Israel, because they're blocking a path for, just food, and they're not letting Palestinian people don't have water to drink. People making baby formula with contaminated water and feeding that to their newborn babies. Great.
And the babies die every day.
Yeah. Great. That's
because
pro-life America is behind Israel on that one,
malnourished
right?
mothers can't breastfeed them because everyone's starving to death.
Way to go, right-wing Republicans. This is what you want, right? All the support for fucking Israel. You guys pro-life motherfuckers over here.
And the right-wing Democrats. It's
don't
just
even get
the
me started on those
right-wing.
fucking Democrats. They're too it's too painful to talk about how much of a problem they are, how sick it is, how, I keep trying to be, I'm like working in electoral reform like a dumbass with all this kind of like optimism that I have, and stuff like this. It's like, good God.
And they spit
you
in your
guys,
face.
like, you're really, really making it hard to want to do anything. Like, I get it. People don't want to be a part of it. And it's like, I believe in the power of, governments and being blah, blah, blah. But man, getting back to my roots of being like, can someone just bomb the fucking White House, please? All of you people. Sorry, Bernie, or whatever. You're going to be over there in the halls of Congress and stuff. Like, fuck you. Fuck all of you guys. Every single one of you.
New Supreme Court term is just starting right now.
I think that would be a good idea. Fuck the Supreme Court. They can all... Sorry, Sonia Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson. Like, that sucks for you guys. Get out of there. Don't be a part of this horrible, horrible institution. But all of you guys, like, are fucking just horrible. You... What are you doing?
And
like,
Congress
it just seems...
is doing nothing about it. The fact that the Supreme Court is engaging in practically like moving policy around, which is what the Supreme Court was just talking about as their session started. Oh, but I was going to say, so, I mean, you go in with this optimism and ideals and want electoral reform, and then the lead of the Democratic ticket for president turns around and says on The View that she plans on having a Republican in her cabinet as president. Like a complete fucking bozo.
That's giving her too much credit.
Fucking stupid F-word bitch.
Straight up.
What the
Why?
fuck? Where is that coming from?
Who
What
is
is
wanting
the
that?
purpose?
Like,
who asked for that? You know what's
Just-
funny? It's like not only okay. So we were talking about. It's like yeah. I mean, not only does it just fly in the face of everything that you as a Democratic establishment leader have been saying about the Republican Party for the last 4 years or more, but especially the last 4 years after they tried to overthrow democracy, yada, yada, yada. They've stymied everything. And Congress has done nothing. And it's like, why would you want a Republican in your cabinet? But also, if it's just a token of bipartisanship to try to get people to vote for you, that's not what GOP voters want. Because I just watched PBS NewsHour today, and they had just one of those typical sit and talk in a kitchen with voters segment in Arizona with lifetime Republican voters that aren't voting for Trump, right? And some of them are going to be voting for Kamala. Some of them still need to be convinced. Some of them just
undecided voters.
Yeah, really. Some of them just aren't going to vote for Trump. And they're giving their reasons why and stuff. And these Republicans that aren't voting Trump aren't doing it because Kamala's reaching out to them. It's just not a single one. It's because of bad things that Trump has done. It's because finally, just fragmented character things just finally rubbed them the wrong way. For one guy, it was January 6th. He's like, I just can't get over that. He's like, that's just goes against the entire point. Just because he loses an election, they try to overturn it. Another one was, it was just, another guy was like a never Trump Republican who just doesn't like that. He was a Mormon who just like, yeah, the character of the guy, I can't stand it. I can't stand that guy.
Sure.
And someone else was legit like, oh yeah, this gal who seemed like a pretty like right-wing connected would-be kind of MAGA type who doesn't like Trump because of his economic plans, because of his he keeps talking about how he wants to put tariffs on everything. Yeah. And how it's just going to be a big sales tax and drive everything up. She's like, things are already hard enough.
And
it's
he's
all about crap that Trump has done or is going to do. It's not about Kamala reaching out to them. They're unreachable. You'll barely just pick up some of these people that are repulsed by Trump. And you can't rely on those people either. It's just going to come with the territory of having an opponent that is repulsively unlikable.
And that's the only way you can win.
It's embarrassing that it's even close to begin with because of that fact. But it's also a reflection on the undemocratic nature of the Electoral College, but when it comes down to it,
People have to flush their toilet 15 times.
just to get rid of this guy,
These people are sick.
and you're not providing a cure for him, all right?
Yeah. And just like, so Kamala, what do you, okay, because, there are Republicans like Trump. Then there was like, back in the day or whatever, it's like you have like Mitt Romney.
Mm-hmm.
Different. Definitely a different kind of guy than Trump, we'll say for sure.
Yeah.
I would trust,
A human being.
I would trust, my niece to be in the same room with Mitt Romney, probably.
Yeah.
Probably
You
one of
could
the
say
biggest
he's
differences.
a disgusting rich businessman, but it's like, but yeah.
But
You would
he is-
trust a child in
Yeah.
the same room as him. Yeah.
Yeah, he is a disgusting rich businessman, and that's kind of the thing. He's the one. Mitt Romney said corporations are people too.
Yeah.
Like he's
Yeah.
the one that started that, and it's like, so Kamala, where do you align with anything that the Republican Party stands for? Like, why would they be represented in your cabinet at all?
Yeah.
Like, what is it about? Even it's like, okay, so they're not like MAGA. Maybe you're not going to choose like, you're not going to have Rudy Giuliani in your cabinet or something like that.
Put Trump in the
Imagine.
cabinet.
Yeah,
Just
but-
appoint Trump as Secretary of the Interior.
And he's like, what does that do?
Appoint Trump as head of the EPA.
Yeah, that's right in his wheelhouse.
And it's like, first thing, we're taking down all the windmills, no matter what. Doesn't matter. I hate them. Bing bong, bing bong.
Yeah. So I guess I just don't know. It's like, what are you gonna have? Oh, Dick Cheney, maybe? You're gonna have Dick Cheney in
Yeah.
your cabinet?
Oh my God, it would be Liz Cheney, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and
That's
it's like
exactly what that's leading to.
So it's like, what are your values exactly? And it's like, oh right, she's a Democrat. That's right, because they don't care. They think corporations are people too. They don't give a shit. That's like bombs. It's like that Onion or whatever joke where it's MAGA rockets, or I mean, Republican rockets. There's like rockets going over. Democrats, it's the same thing, just with like a pride flag or whatever, kind of like virtue
Where it's
signaling
like, well,
bullshit.
I heard
they're
that fighter plane is piloted by a woman of
trans
color.
woman. Yeah. Yeah. But there are ways that the Democrats, like social sort of policies, are obviously going to be way better than like, mass execution of trans people and mass deportation.
And immigrants,
Sure.
yeah.
But on every other front, essentially, they're the fucking same. And actually, when it comes to immigration, they are the same. Like they're not gonna mass deport people, but they're disgusting.
Yeah.
Excuse me. They want to help ICE, do things. They want to close down whatever they're talking, close the border kind of bullshit and like crime and fentanyl and all this kind of stupid bullshit talking points that they have about
Yeah, they're
problems
still
at the border.
building the fucking wall.
Yeah, I don't. It's they're just, and I don't have that high of expectations. I feel like I have all this stupid optimism that's really, they just make it really hard to be hopeful here. America, all this, that's the thing. They really get you. Emily has said this before, our sister, it's like an abusive relationship our government has with its people. You're born with this sense of like, well, entitlement, but besides that, like enthusiasm and like the land of opportunity, and you have this optimism. John Oliver said that it's like, man, Americans, you guys really are like that. Like, it's something that British people don't have. Like, culturally, we're like optimists. It's something that's really kind of cool about one of the good things about American culture. Hey, you work hard, you're a good person, whatever, you can make it, you could do it, you could blah, 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 blah. Man, they tell you that, and it is impossible, I feel like, to keep that kind of attitude with any kind of moral stance on anything. Like, if you have any kind of like, morals about factual things. Not we're talking about abortions. We're talking about facts. Yes, like it's really just grinds it out of you to become. It's like, I might as well just give up, get some job in tech, and just like have a nice house, and just like fucking forget about all this bullshit and just have play with Marcel. Go to nice dinners with Humby, go travel around or whatever, and fucking forget about all this.
Yeah. You're all optimistic and idealist because of all these things that you were told, and you realize
We do a little trolling. It's called we do a little trolling.
Nice.
we told you all these things, Oh God! And then you realize
Suicide is badass.
Yeah, legit. Man, it just is really disappointing to be an American. It's really hard to keep that mindset of, I don't know, to not become a cynic, to not become whatever, a nihilist in a bad way, and we believe in nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just, and it's funny because you were talking about like, oh, you go into with your ideals or your optimism because you're working on something that does shape like a systemic issue, like electoral reform,
Totally,
that would lead actually to actual different
change.
Outcomes, maybe. Yeah,
totally.
because where you're not choosing between two piles of
different
dog
people would
shit.
get elected, different policies would get enacted, there'd be trust built between the government
would feel
and its people
more
again.
represented.
It would actually be representative
because
of our interests, which are to fucking care for each other.
Yeah. It's so exhausting because it's like, it's just because, it's hard to choose. It's hard to decide which makes you feel worse. Is the horrific, like disgusting, like fascistic nature of the current GOP and like MAGA movement, or just the sheer disappointment that the Democrats bring on a weekly basis over and over and over again. Every time they have any sort of excitement, they squander it over and over again. The fact that Hillary Clinton was on TV giving advice about how Kamala could beat Trump in the election was like a fucking Onion headline. Bitch, you shouldn't be near a microphone ever for the rest of your life. Like, go away.
You were like, you literally lost to Donald Trump.
But it's just emblematic of like the Democratic Party's like just whole definition of insanity thing. I don't know where that came from or who said that first. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. But it's just like, man, that applies so often where it's just like, when are you guys gonna
And I feel like they
when
got
are you guys
you.
gonna do the opposite where you like reflect on a success and you try to do the same thing as that to expect the same result and expect more success.
Maybe do
you
what
know?
fucking works instead of putting
Instead of
Hillary Clinton on
snatching-
TV, who lost
Yeah.
to Donald Trump. I can't state that. And you know what, the Democrats, they really fucking have you by the balls, I feel like. Because you know what? The other option, okay, I'm obviously not going to be a Republican. That's insane.
Yeah.
I'm going to be someone who doesn't vote, who is extremely cynical now because they have beaten out my optimism by making me hope over and over again. They have risen my, like, oh wow, and then fucking crushed me. With the GOP, they suck, and I've always known that. They have never spoken to me. That side has never been my party, ever. The Democrats, people like you and me, a lot of people in the country, I would say most voters in America, based off the 2020 election and how people vote when they actually get a vote on like ballot initiatives and things like that, most people would be voting for these motherfucking Democrats, and it becomes on us to keep the spirit alive. They don't do shit for us, and it's put on us because we're moral people who want to believe in the good in the world. We want to believe that things will change, and that's where they get us. Just in this fucking false hope. It is like soul crushing
of optimism and just make a few bucks off of it.
Fuck you guys, you
go home
fucking
for the
millionaires.
day.
Nancy Pelosi, I hope someone fucking kills you. I hope you get...
You're gonna get us pulled off of YouTube with this one.
Whoops.
That's like the second thing this episode that would easily get us pulled off of YouTube. I remember us getting automatically flagged for COVID misinformation last year.
Nice.
Because it's like, what? There's only like 18 views on this, but they comb through them, so that would be kind of fun though if it does.
If I got pulled off for saying someone should assassinate Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, it's like Stavros Halkias. I'd be like, I mean, I won't say it, but I mean, no one would mind if someone schmashmasinated schmezos. No one would miss him if, you know, someone schmashmasinated him.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, and that's the thing. They have all these opportunities. So and at the top of the ticket, this is the issue, is that when presidential elections roll around, when people are actually paying attention to this in terms of, you know, the general voting public, this is when you get to make your, make face as the party, make your stances known, help get the rest of the party in the door if you can get excitement for your candidate. That's how Barack Obama did it. That's how they got a majority in both houses in 2000 after the 2008 election. They did nothing with it. They didn't codify Roe versus Wade, blah, 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 blah. They didn't get a public option. They stink. But
they stink.
And that was 16 years ago, yada, yada, yada. We still have the shittiest healthcare system in the civilized world.
We're number one. We're number one.
Yeah. But it's like, and then so Kamala Harris, someone who, despite in 2020 dropping out of the primary so early because she did such a bad job, because she hired the Hillary team to run her primary campaign, still got such excitement when she took over because people wanted anyone other than Joe Biden to be at the top of the ticket. Has still already squandered all of that. Even after Tim Walz, who is great, a good, competent executive leader.
I wish he was running for president.
Yeah.
I wish he was the top of the ticket. I think
like
a lot of people do.
Yeah. But she now she's finally doing this whole media tour. I feel like Trump and the GOP were really calling her out for not really engaging and not holding town halls or like doing interviews and stuff like that, which you could say that it's coincidence or if it was because the GOP was calling her out, but that's what she's doing now, which is good. I mean, politically and just, for the people. It's like, for one thing, you're the fucking vice president.
We should know who you are.
Yeah, it's like, let's at least have you answer some questions from 60 Minutes. Good Lord. And she got to call out Trump for not doing the same. Instead he went on with Laura Ingraham, and Laura Ingraham fact-checked him in front of everybody. It was kind of funny. Trump was even saying, he's like, oh yeah, Kamala, she wasn't even this hurricane, it's the worst when it hit North Carolina and stuff. Which one was that? Helene? And she won't even go down there and see these people. And Laura Ingraham, she was like, well, Mr. President, she was just there talking to people in North Carolina. They're on the ground for 3 hours just today. And he's like, oh, well, but still, anyway, so she's doing this media tour, but I just wanted to see, without even having opened this earlier, let's see what the New York Post has to say about this. This is by the editorial board. No one wants to put their name to this, I guess. Kamala Harris's mystery media blitz. Who's she trying to win over? And just by the headline, it makes me kind of wonder, am I going to agree with this? I don't know. Am I going to have the same questions as the psychotic, deranged cultist liars at the New York Post?
New York Post?
You do that again, I'm going to come over there and physically assault you with this.
I only did that because it's right next to the
stupid jumper face.
As Vice President Kamala Harris enters the last month of the 2024 race for the White House, she's proving she either won't or can't reach out to any persuadable voters. And it's funny, right off the bat, it's like, yeah, like a month ago, we were talking about how funny it is, where it's just like, who the fuck's an undecided voter?
Should I put this gas in my car? Or should I just drink it straight out the nozzle?
I don't know. I don't have enough information. I'm just not sure. Let's see. In her Monday night CBS interview, it looked like can't. Bill Whitaker asked a series of perfectly reasonable questions, and she delivered gibberish. Let's see. Is Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu just ignoring the White House? Bless you. Harris offered a convoluted statement on our advocacy. Of course she had a convoluted statement on anything Israel related. How's she going to pay for her spending plans? Tax the rich, she says. Whitaker retorts, in the real world, how will she get that through Congress? Quote, firefighters and teachers and nurses will demand it. Whitaker didn't look convinced, and it's hard to imagine who would be. And that interview, at least, aimed at a general audience. What swing voter does she expect to reach with softball interviews on popular sex podcast Call Her Daddy? Yeah, I forgot. She went on Call Her Daddy and Howard Stern.
I saw. Howard Stern was like, SNL shouldn't be doing a joke of you. I was like, shut up.
Yeah, who the fuck listens to Howard Stern?
That's what I'm like, aren't you
just a bunch
dead
of
yet?
Gen Xers that are voting for Trump.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't understand who's... I mean, the last time I ever even heard Howard Stern speak is because he was on Bill Maher. And that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But the Call Her Daddy audience is almost entirely young women. A demographic Democrats have been crushing it with for years, and even then, some listeners felt insulted by the propaganda. I wonder what this is linking to. Call Her Daddy fans blast Alex Cooper over Kamala Harris interview. Feels like propaganda. What? Yeah, it's It's a candidate.
She's running for
campaigning
president.
Going on a
Yeah, I'm not sure if you knew that.
What do you mean?
Is it because she also didn't have Donald Trump on there?
What? Yeah, what the fuck? Let's see. The podcast Instagram account. Oh my God. This is literally an entire New York Post article about people commenting on an Instagram post about random people on Instagram.
Quote unquote journalism.
Yeah.
That's the whole article.
One of my favorite podcasts, and now I'll never listen again. Unbelievable, one user commented. Oh no, why did we have to get this political? Listening to your podcast was a nice escape from everything we hear about politics daily, another fan wrote in the comments. Done. This was my favorite podcast. I'm 100% disgusted, added another.
I wonder if they know that they don't actually have to listen to that episode.
Yeah, so dope.
That's
okay.
Literally the biggest guest star they could possibly ever hope to get. Because I don't know if you knew, but she's literally the fucking vice president of the United States.
Yeah.
I think, what is she, like the first woman vice president?
Imagine
guys?
if, really?
Like, I don't know if you knew that. Hey, I mean, whatever virtue signaling kind of stuff. She could be the first woman president of the United States.
And she's
whatever you want to feel about that. This podcast is for women.
Podcast. Yeah.
I mean,
Lord. Good point. Yeah. And then to also include in here, saying, oh, also some other fans also lashed out at the podcast host for failing to address more pressing matters with Harris, like illegal immigration and the administration's response to Hurricane Helene. So which is it, dude? Which users are you? It's like, so
what is their audience?
They can't win here.
Yeah.
All you're doing is just combing an Instagram comment section. What have you done with your life? When you're a journalist? No, you're not.
You went to school for this?
Yeah.
I read
I went to
Instagram comments all the time.
Northwestern.
Yeah.
So let's see. Fine. She got to talk more about abortion, but she sure should have those voters already. It's like, well, part of this too. I mean, you don't just need to persuade voters to vote for you. You need to persuade people to go out and vote. You need to remind the general public, like, hey, no, this is important, when they're like, people are getting cynical and this and that. And you might get some other people like, oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, fuck, that's right. Abortion is like illegal in a bunch of states. Like this, oh, yeah, that's right. Our country is sinking into an inescapable hellhole of
it's a
climate
Handmaid's
change,
Tale. Yeah.
and women's reproductive rights being taken away and school shootings every day.
Literally huge increase in maternal mortality and infant mortality in Texas because of the overturning of Roe versus Wade. All you girlies listening to this girly podcast, there's a bunch of dead women because of the
I'm
grand old
100%
party.
disgusted that you brought that up. No, I'm never listening
political.
to this podcast again.
Yeah. To talk about human rights.
Oh, wow. See, this is why I have no idea. It's also hard to see how she'll gain any more among the rich white dudes. Average household income $160,000 who still listen to Stern. I don't know where he got the demographic info, but no wonder. I'm like, who the fuck still listens to Stern?
Gen Xers.
I guess, Gen X guys in like Silicon Valley or something. It's like, and anyone tuning into The View or Colbert these days is already on her side. Is she just trying to get them to actually bother to showing up to vote? Oh, right there.
There we go.
Like I said, yes, pretty much. Harris needs to win undecideds in the Sun Belt and Blue Wall swing states, but nothing she says even seems intended to convince them. Man, some of this writing is really rough.
Good. No.
Yeah, it's really fantastic. They want some sign of a difference from the Biden-Harris years. How will she help families get back what they lost to Bidenflation? Why won't her mega spending plans bring Kamalaflation? What will she do to stop the millions jumping the border? Well, that's not what she's talking about. Why won't she address my heavily weighted questions?
Yeah.
Because I'm not voting for Kamala Harris.
I want to put out this...
She's not trying to convince you, post-editorial board.
Yeah. Something that Humby told me, I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast already, that the immigration between the U.S. and Mexico specifically is like net zero. Like there are as many Mexican people immigrating to the United States as there are United States citizens immigrating to Mexico. That
Really?
balance is like even. Other countries, obviously, there are more than just, people from Mexico coming to the United States. So there is a difference there. But I thought that was a very interesting statistic that I did not know. Because there's a bunch of white people that moved to Mexico for all kinds of reasons. Or not just white people, but, Americans. But also a lot of white people. But
Americans, yeah. And it's funny. I was talking to Dad about it the other day because I rented a unit to a group of Venezuelan men who are non-citizens. Like had a Venezuelan ID.
So you called ICE on them?
Really nice. Yeah, no, they're nice guys. And we had to get through our language barrier, but we did just fine. But it's funny, the whole propaganda push against Haitian immigrants, which there are a lot of Haitian immigrants in some areas that were seeking asylum, right? I mean, Haiti is constantly just being destroyed by American actions, has been. I mean, just look at what Trump was saying in 2016 about what the Clinton Foundation did to Haiti. I mean, he said it himself. But the Haitian immigrants that come in under, I don't know all the legal stuff. This is inane blather, whatever. But under that act that allows, so many people to have protected status and seek asylum, the same thing applies to people from Venezuela. And that happened during the Trump administration. And if you go back and look at their rhetoric from when they first really ramped up this anti-immigration screed more than usual, they were saying Venezuela and Haiti. And they immediately stopped the Venezuela thing because that all happened under Trump.
On their watch, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, and there's just as many people coming from Venezuela because, of course, we've ruined their country constantly as well. Nice. Remember, Trump was talking about going to fucking war with Venezuela for whatever goddamn reason, because he hates everyone and because there's oil there. But and there's just as many people coming up from there trying to, have a better life in the United States and become part of this great melting pot where we try to take care of each other without having any health care, and we're run by a bunch of psychotic billionaires. But anyway, what are you saying?
I just wanted to tell you, sometimes I know that Humby and I talk about this a lot, like not wanting to be like in our bubble, like just knowing like how other people feel about things. There's a lot of different people out there with a lot of different opinions.
Tell me about it.
Hey, 75 million people voted for Trump, not just like, I'm not going to vote this election, like straight up went out of their way. But one of our friends,
I talk to him every day.
Their dad, a super, super nice guy, pillar of the community sort of guy, has said before, he thinks, the United States should invade Mexico and take over and take over to, and this man, he's a very kind, super nice guy. He's from our hometown, and it's just to like take over and like put things right and all that. It's like invade Mexico. You're going to go to one of our biggest trading partners, our neighbor, obviously, being a big one. You know, like we have all of this back and forth, this net zero sort of immigration thing that we got going on with them. You know, all this kind of stuff. We're going to just go bring in our military and just take over this country.
It's a little known part of NAFTA that Clinton didn't really go over when that was signed into effect. Was that if we found that it was a little too icky down there to some people's likings, we could just invade and make it look better.
Yeah,
you know, things aren't going well down there. It's like, you know what? I mean, sure, there are some serious problems in border cities and cartel issues and stuff like that in Mexico, but a lot of it really isn't. It's really played up in the media.
They definitely have during this presidential run. There was a lot of murders of politicians. It was
just
like,
happened. Did you see that?
That was wild.
That the mayor of that major Mexican city, 6 days after he was elected mayor, his decapitated head was found on the hood of his car.
Oh my God.
Supposedly. I just saw it on Twitter, but there was no community note, is all I know.
Was he from Guadalajara? What is that?
Guadalajara.
That Lou Dobbs. I wish we had that as a drop.
Yeah.
That went slightly better than the worst it could have possibly gone.
Well, anyway, shout out to everyone from Central America and South America, all of Latin America. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
We love you guys, and all y'alls here in the United States. Keep your head
fuck you.
Up.
No,
it's tough out there.
Yeah,
I feel
exactly.
it. It's hard to be optimistic. It's really tough out here. Ooh boy, goddamn, man. Fuck this country. And you know what? Another thing I learned from Umberto, they really detest the term expats. They're like, you're an immigrant. You immigrated to a different country. You're not special because you're an American and you live in France now. You immigrated there.
Yeah. I'm sure that there are some really insufferable people among that population every once in a while. Also, shout out to all the people, in Florida and all that. Man, oh man.
Yeah.
Brutal. I'm
North
so
Carolina, South Carolina,
lucky to
some of my
live
friends
where
over
I
there.
do.
Love you.
Yeah, you actually know people over there.
Yeah, that's what...
I just have Twitter friends over there, and I'm really worried about them. And next time we talk, I think, let's see. We'll talk on our favorite holiday, probably Columbus Day.
Mm-hmm. I will not call it Indigenous Peoples Day.
Yeah, I don't know if you did you get to that in The Sopranos? I don't know when that happens, if that's early in the series with the people protesting Columbus Day, and they're always like, hey, it's Italian heritage and stuff, and they get in a fight at the protest, and it's pretty funny.
Nice.
And then I'm going to go and see you in Seattle, so that'll be nice.
Mine and Humby's place.
And then, gosh, it's only going to be a matter of time, and then the election's going to happen, so...
Just get it over with.
So we'll have wall-to-wall, inane blather coverage.
Live coverage, election
nothing
night.
like that.
Yeah.
That would be fun. Should go
All
on
right,
Twitch.
let's plan on that.
On a Tuesday night.
Everyone will be doing it.
I'm sure we wouldn't be competing with anyone.
Yeah.
We just go on Twitch, have ours as we're playing Putt Party.
Yeah.
And then we put Hassan Piker's stream in the bottom right corner.
Mm-hmm.
And just play his. And then he's playing CNN or something, you know.
Whoa.
And we just have like this turducken of bullshit live political coverage. So yeah, and then in the upper left corner we have someone else that's playing Subway Surfers, you know, to keep everyone's attention.
Nice, yeah. I think
Well, I love you all.
Shout out to RM Brown.
Shout out to RM Brown.
Owned. Consider yourself owned, because you are.
And
out to Zach.
yeah, sorry if that episode
Not
was
good.
But
what are you expecting? That's on you.
Yeah. The fuck? You already listened over an hour into this?
You're a loser.
You're disgusting.
Yeah.
You're disgusting. You're one of those
psychotic, deranged, cultist liars.
Except you're not a liar. I love
Yeah.
you. Okay, all right. Love you. Bye.
Okay, I love you. Bye. Love you all. Bye.